Good Tuesday morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We are honored to have a special guest in from SAP to discuss what's new in SAP BI 4.2 SP7 Web Intelligence and Semantic Layer. So, of course, earlier, or rather last week, we were discussing what's going on the back end. Now we've got more front end information coming in about the next version. Really excited because today we are joined by Yasmina Kuti, who's pre-sales manager here at 360 Suite. And of course, our special guest almost needs no introduction, but I'll go ahead. Gregory Boticchio, Director of Product Management, SAP BusinessObjects Web Intelligence. And of course, my name's Nathan Crook, Senior Account Director here at 360 Suite. And together, we're going to curate your experience today around what's new in 4.2 SP7. So in order to get the most out of the presentation, we've got a couple of things that can help along the way. You'll notice that in the pop-out menu on the right-hand side of your screen, there are questions. There is a questions block where you can type questions in. Please, feel free to do that along the way. Gregory will actually take and answer as many questions as we can at the end of the presentation, but just so to make sure we get through the content, we'll keep the answers unless it's simple and easy until then. Also, the recording will be made available shortly after the presentation ends. And then finally, help us help you. There's an exit survey at the very end that'll be discussing, was this valuable? Is there any improvements we can make? We always like to be better. Without any further ado, I'd like to hand the screen over to Gregory and welcome Mr. Boticchio into the 360 office. Please, Gregory, take us in.
Okay, thanks a lot, Nathan. Welcome, everyone. I'm really happy to be with you today again in order to share with you what's going on regarding Web Intelligence and the semantic layer. Before I start, can you see my screen?
Not yet. I can see the flower.
Not yet.
Not the presentation.
Still a flower. So this is on purpose. Okay, thank you. So now, here we go. We should start to see the presentation. So you confirm me that you can see my deck?
Perfect.
Perfect?
Yes.
Okay. So last week, Maishwa, my colleague, has presented to you what's new in the BI platform for the 2 SAP 7. Today, I will share with you the innovation and what's going on for Web Intelligence and the semantic layer. So, okay, duplicate always the same legal disclaimer because the SAP 7 is not yet officially released. You're going to get your hands on it in the coming weeks. Webby, if you are here, you all know very well Web Intelligence and the semantic layer. So I'm going to skip the classical marketing slide about the product overview and the product description. You all know this by heart. And let's have a look at the agenda today. So a short introduction regarding the SAP 7 and where we are with the different release at your disposal today. The items we're going to discuss for Web Intelligence and the semantic layer. And I think I'm going to skip the roadmap because, well, we have another opportunity to mention this one. So, before to start, the SAP 7 is planned for week number 9. So, it means that we are still planning to make it GA, general availability, in 4 weeks from now. And SAP 7 will be in 4 weeks the latest SAP at your disposal. If you look at the different timelines here, you can see that we will have a Service Pack 8, a Service Pack 9. Service Pack 8 will be delivered almost at the same time that the next BI 4.3, BI 4.3, which is our next major minor release that we have already started to develop and implement. So which means that today the web team is working, has finished to work on SAP 7 and is focusing on the BI 4.3, and this has a consequence, regarding the SAP 7 contents, and it will be my very first key message for this. The BI 4.2 SAP 7 is primarily a quality release before being a feature release. This is to manage right the expectations. We had a wonderful Sales Pack 4, Sales Pack 5, Sales Pack 6 with a lot of and important innovations in it. But for the Sales Pack 7, as far as Webby and Semantic layer is concerned, because we had to work and to start the development of the BI 4.3, we had to restrain ourselves and to do little innovation, I would say less innovation in the Sales Pack 7 compared to the previous Sales Pack. So this being said, you will get innovations in Sales Pack 7, less than the previous releases, but advantage is you will get more quality, meaning more stability, more bug fixing in it. Regarding the innovation, what can you expect in Web Intelligence? Let's have a look at this. The first thing we did improve is the input control, or I would say we have improved all the input controls in general, and the very first innovation we have added into the input control is now input control can get a default value by default. So that's the first innovation. So to achieve this, it's really easy. At the design time, meaning when you are inside the designer, when you create or edit an input control, in the properties, you can make sure that the default value being selected into the input control is calculated automatically, for example, by a variable. So you have before to use this to create a variable. This variable will return one or more value. If the input control is a mono selector, if the variable return one value, this single value will be used to fill in this mono selector. If the variable returns several values, only the very first value from the multi list of value will be used to fill in this mono selector. But if your input control is a multi-selector, of course, if your variable returns more than one value, all these values will be used to fill in by default the input control. So this is a new behavior, and moreover, you can make sure that the default value are completed at the refresh time. So to achieve this, just below the default value field, we have reset and refresh. Yes, if you check yes, it means that every time you're going to open the document, is the refresh is activated, or if you have a refresh on open, for example, the default value would be reset with the new variables values that result from the document refresh. So that's the very first new behavior you're going to get into the input control, and there is another one. Here we go, the sorting. Now you can define a default sorting for your input control. You have the choice between three options: none, ascending, and descending. If you choose none, it means that the list of values will be displayed in the way it is returned by the database. If you choose ascending, it will be ascending by default, descending by default. You choose this at the design time. The use case I have in mind, for example, if your input control is based on the date, a list of value representing dates, and you will like the last date to be the first one to be displayed, so you choose descending, and every time you open this input control, the last date will appear at the top of the list. And if you use the new functionality previously cited, the default input control value, the default value for the input control, you can make sure that the last value is always selected as well. So this is the first innovation. Innovation number 2 is regarding a small enhancement for the chart. Inline chart, a marker can be displayed always, even if there is only one value to be displayed on the axis. This is a new behavior that we introduce, and the intent is to avoid to display an empty chart when only one value is displayed in an axis. It's just to make sure that even if the marker line symbol is not checked, at least if you have only one value in your chart on your axis, you get a data point representing this single data value. Innovation number 3 for Web Intelligence. This is all related to SAP HANA, and we support HDI. Another way, HDI view. We call this HANA XS calculation, which is a specific type of HANA view, which can be created into SAP HANA Web IDE, and you can access them starting for the 2SP7 via SQL or MDX, which means that you can create a Unix, a relational Unix on top of your HDI view, or you can use the Web Intelligence Online Access or the Web Intelligence Direct Access, both relational or multidimensional mode or connection, if you prefer, to consume your this new type of HANA view. Another thing we did improve is really specific. That's functionality which has been asked for some customers by some customers. This is related to the fact that when you create an OLAP universe on top of, for example, of Microsoft MSAS, and you create a prompt on top of a hierarchical dimension, the prompt, the way you're going to fill in the prompt before SAP 7, you add no choice. You can't fill in the prompt with a specific string, meaning that the prompt based on a multidimensional dimension has to be filled with the list of value proposed by this dimension. In SP7, we have enabled the capability that you can select or not select only from list, which means that every time you're going to be prompted on a hierarchical dimension, you can decide to fill in the prompt by using values coming from the list of value, or you can let your end user enter any string and add this as part of the value being selected for the prompt. Why? Because you might want to pre-populate the prompt with custom string, even if the value does not exist in the list of value. Or you might want to populate the prompt by doing a copy-paste. You have some list of items that are proposed or generated, for example, in Excel. You select, you go in Excel, you do copy, you go in your prompt dialog box, you select the enter free text dialog box, you paste and you add the value coming from Excel into your dialog box, and you can execute the query. One important notice for this specific functionality. First, it was on OLAP universes, OLAP MDX universes, Unix type universes, for the following data sources: Microsoft MSAS and SAP HANA Direct Access with an OLAP connection, including the new HDI view that we support in this SP7 release. Another small enhancement, this concerns the Open Document API. As part of this Open Document API, there is a parameter that you can use to build this Open Document statement. You have this NAII parameter that you can use to control which prompt have to be displayed when you call an open document involving several prompts. There is a default behavior, which is NAII equal N, which will display all the prompts, both the mandatory and optional prompts. Pretty useful when you consume and create an open document on top of a web document based on the BEX query. The prompts with values set in the URL are also displayed. And if all mandatory prompts are set in the URL, the prompt dialog box is not displayed. That's the default behavior. The new behavior is NAII equal A. In this case, the behavior of the prompt will be slightly different. It will display all the prompts, both the mandatory and optional, for which values are not set in the URL. Prompts with values set in the URL are not displayed, and if all mandatory and optional prompts are set in the URL, the prompt dialog box is not displayed. Why this new behavior? Because we had customers who are building Webby on top of BEX, and they were calling this Webby document by using this open document statement, and they wanted to get this specific new behavior implemented. So now we did that, and this is available starting for the 2 SP7. Another one, and this one is pretty useful if you want to propose some kind of interactive analysis mode in Webby for your end user by using the user interface customization. So this is not a new functionality, but you have extended this capability. UI customization is a functionality you can implement since, if I'm correct, for the 2 size pack 4. This is a functionality for the IT, and this functionality lets you customize the entire Web Intelligence interface by showing or not specific functionalities. Before the Size Pack 7, it was not possible to customize the right-click menu. And this generates a lot of issues because you could hide, for example, a specific menu item in the menu bar, but the ones that you have hidden into the menu bar would have been available if you were performing a right click, which is not a behavior you would like to see or expect. So now, starting for the SP7, you have the ability, the possibility to hide the right click menu as well, and you can choose which item should be displayed when you do a right click. So meaning that if you want to propose a right click with only cut and copy and paste, that's possible. You can hide all the other elements of the right click and just propose only cut, copy, paste to your end users. And to achieve this, you have to go in the same place that for all the UI customization components. You have to go in the CMC, do a right click on user or group of users, and choose UI customizations, and you will get the dialog box being displayed currently on the screen. Another small improvement, this is more a security warning. If you are using visualization extension, which is a framework for the developer who want to propose a new block or chart type into Webby for all your end users. The innovation is the following one. Before to make this visualization extension, or we call this capability the custom element, available for your end user, fully available, you will get the security warning to let you know that you're going to enable some script, and you have to better understand what the script is all about and what the script is going to do, because we, SAP and Web Intelligence, can't control this. meaning that this extension contains a malicious script, there is no way we can control this. You have to be aware of this. You have to understand and control what the custom element contains and what it's going to do. So this is warning, and before to make the custom element available, you have to I accept the risk, knowing that you have controlled the content of your custom element before to make the custom element of this extension available and fully functional into Web Intelligence. So this is really a warning to let you validate and understand the risk you are taking by enabling this particular capability, the visual extension framework. And lastly, for Webby, this is all about the REST API SDK, our SDK based on the REST web services. In 4.2 Service Pack 7, we have enhanced all our SDK specifically for some capabilities that we introduced in 4.2 Service Pack 5 and Service Pack 6, meaning that, for example, the tile and the tile and deviation chart are now fully accessible via the SDK. Speedometer, linear gauges, angular gauges are now fully available via the SDK. The new funnel and pyramid chart are also available via the SDK, and the new capability properties for the bar chart, which is overlapping column, delivered the last Service Pack 6, is also available via the SDK. So that's all I have for Web Intelligence innovations or enhancement for the Service Pack 2, for the 4.2 Service Pack 7. And before to mention the other enhancements we have for the semantic layer, I think you're going to do a small survey. So I'm going to stop here.
That's correct. Thank you, Gregory.
To my colleague.
Yes, thank you. Some very exciting features there. So I've got a quick poll, if you wouldn't mind having a look at it, because we'd like to understand a bit better your usage of BI analytic solutions. So besides business objects, are you using other analytic solutions? So the choices are SAP Analytics Cloud or SAC, Tableau, Power BI, Qlik, or any other. So please make a selection. Oh, I can see the numbers going up quite a lot for Tableau. We've got Power BI not far behind. So yeah, keep those votes coming in, please. That's great. So Tableau is still in the lead. Okay, I think some of you are still voting. That's great. So I shall now close the poll and we can look at the answers. So the results have come in and are as follows. Tableau is the most popular after business objects, so we have 41%. Power BI is at 35%. Then other, it would be nice to see which others those are as well. So if you have any comments, you can add them. Then we have Qlik, 15%. And lastly, SAP Analytics Cloud, 14%. So thank you very much for that.
We had almost 80% of 166 people chiming in, so it's pretty good representation.
Thank you.
Back to you, Gregory.
Okay. Can you still see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Semantic layer, right?
Correct.
Correct.
Right. Okay, so let's move on. So now, this is the second part and last part of my presentation. I'm going to share with you the enhancement you will get into the semantic layer, I mean the information designer tool. Okay, so let's start. Okay, first improvement inside the information designer tool. This one concerns the refresh structure, specifically if your database, one of the table or column of your database had changed, and you apply a refresh structure request. Now we will let you choose what should be the behavior if, for example, a column has been renamed in the database. You can just select the action to delete the data foundation column or update the data foundation column with a new column name, for example. This is to avoid the current behavior, which is to delete, then add again the old column where join are lost. So this improvement is really to improve the cost and ownership and to facilitate the usage of the refresh structure action. Another one, which is to extend the usage of stored procedure in the universe, in Unix SAP universe. We can use stored procedures in universe since the further 2 says pack 6. Another enhancement has been implemented to extend the stored procedures universe capability. In further 2 says pack 7, you can control who is allowed to use stored procedure in IDT by granting a relational connection security right. So this is a first improvement. You have a new security right to authorize or to deny. This security right is enforced at the universe authoring time only, not when the universe queries the database. This right is used to prevent users to create or edit a table based on the stored procedures. In the user interface, the corresponding commands are disabled. This right is not checked when the client runs the query on top of universe based on the stored procedure. Another thing we did in further 2 says pack 7, if the stored procedures has been modified in the database, it is possible to refresh the data foundation to take into consideration the following changes. There is a huge list of changes that you can leverage. For example, if you have renamed the store procedures, etc., etc., we're going to produce a wiki when you will get all the details regarding the changes that are take into consideration where the store procedures is modified. You're going to get the full list. Okay. We have added several enhancements when you are converting a universe in IDT from UNV to Unix. When converting a universe in the CMS repository, when you select the universe to convert for usability, the universe folder is expanded by default. That's for the first one, for example. When you convert a derived universe in the CMS repository, if the derived universes are stored in different folders, then the core universe is converted only once and no more, and you do not generate duplicated in the different folders, for example. Another one, after the connection, you can double-click a universe in the table to retrieve the converted universe in your local project. Access to restriction name with unsupported characters does not stop the conversion anymore. During the conversion, for example, question mark and double quote characters are displayed with underscore character, for example. And when you convert a local universe, the conversion result is displayed in the status column in previous version. This column displayed only for universe stored in the CMS repository, not for local universe. So this is small cumulative enhancement regarding the usability of the functionality converse universe in IDT. Okay, another bunch of cumulative enhancement in IDT. This is all about when you want to save to PDF, HTML, or TXT your Unix. Several enhancements have been done when you save a data foundation or your business layer to PDF, to HTML, or to TXT. Folder description have been added, as well as other properties that were not saved previously. For example, fields that contain empty strings are not saved anymore. The generated HTML has been reworked. It now has a better tabulation, and you may click on section, folders, and objects to collapse the lines, for example. So this is small cumulative enhancement that will ease the consumption of your PDF, HTML, and TXT file being generated based on your data foundation or business layer. Another one, SAP HANA variables used in universes based on SAP HANA view. First of all, the very first thing is now you can translate an SAP HANA variable defined in your Unix by using the translation management tool. And the second one that we have improved is the HANA your HANA variables that you will get into your Unix. You can order them instead of getting the default order from the HANA view. Another one for IDT, this is regarding the memory link. We have improved IDT stability by reducing memory links and looking at more frequently the unused memory, meaning that you have a better Java garbage collector, you have a better management of the Java garbage collector. These improvements, if these improvements are not enough to prevent memory shortage, a warning message can be displayed now to propose you to close your IDT or not. Some parameters have been added into your IDT preferences in the preferences dialog box for fine-tuning this kind of behavior. You can you can specify the delay between each memory-free processing to define the delay between two unused memory processing checks, and the parameter in the warning message triggering criteria define when the warning message is being displayed in IDT or not. You have some additional UI, user interface enhancement in IDT. This one is pretty useful if you want to duplicate your security profile. It is now possible to duplicate your existing data security or business security profile to avoid to recreate them from scratch. So to achieve this, you have to go into the security editor in the universe profile view, right-click on your existing business security profile, and in the contextual menu, select duplicate security profile or duplicate business security profile to get a duplication of your existing work. A new security profile similar to the selected one will be created with a different name, and it will be assigned to the same user or the same group by default. Another user interface enhancement, so now you get a brand new summary view in the data foundation. A new summary view is displayed as a tab, and into this view we introduce in this view, which has been introduced in previous releases to avoid opening the master view every time you would like to see them, you will get a nice tile that will let you choose which data foundation you would like to open and consume. So we propose you a kind of a master view or overview of the different data foundation at your disposal, and you just have to click on one in order to get them. The way the tile and the summary view will behave can be fine-tuned via some settings in the identity preferences. In IDT, still in IDT, another bunch of user interface enhancements. The way the data foundation insertion is going to work can be fine-tuned, so you have new properties that can apply by default when you're going to add new table or new join into your data foundations. For example, the way the table display has to behave. So does it have to be expanded by default? Do you want to see the join only, or does it have to be collapsed? The way the join is going to work, does it have to be neutral, included by default, or excluded by default? So this kind of default behavior can be fine-tuned in IDT preferences. So all these kind of capabilities or options, you decide the way you prefer them to behave. Once you validate this, when you're going to add a new table or add a new join, you're going to get the new default behavior. Another one, which is this one is quite strong. We did introduce this specifically for our partner, for the developers, as part of the IDT for the 2SP7. We support extension, meaning that as a developer, you can write your code and integrate your code into IDT using extension. So this is a brand new extension framework for IDT. And we support two types of extension. The first one is you can add a new commands, new functions in the contextual menu for resources located in the local project view, such as data foundation, business layer connections, meaning that every time you're going to do right-click on your data foundations, business layer connections, you can add a new command, a new functionality, a new feature in the right-click, in the contextual menu. And the second one is you can open a new view in IDT, and this new view is going to propose something really custom that you will have coded yourself. So starting for the 2SP7 in IDT, we support extension. This is a brand new extension framework, and our partners such as GBS Mint 360 Suite, I'm pretty sure will quickly propose you new capabilities in IDT, such as, I presume, release management, universe management, lifecycle management, but in IDT. Last but not least, and we support new data sources with a semantic layer in for the 2SP7. So this is a list of new databases that we support. And to conclude this presentation, there is something that we did and that I discovered really recently, because I was not aware that the dev team was working on it. We have improved our JDBC drivers for all data sources that you can access via our JDBC drivers. It has been optimized to improve performance and stability. And by using the new JDBC driver to access data sources, you can expect improvements in the performance of your of some workflow. For example, when getting the list of value, if you are using the JDBC driver, you will get a boost in the performance. In some refresh actions of your web document, you will get also some refresh some performance improvement as well. I don't want to share with you some KPI or some numbers, but our internal tests are really promising. So I will let you test it, and you will let me know if these new GDBC drivers are indeed optimized for some workflows. So this is the end of my presentation. So roadmap, well, as you know, now the team is focusing on the BI 4.3, and I'm pretty sure I will have another opportunity to share with you what you can expect and what are the main innovations you're going to get in the next business objects BI 4.3. This being said, I would like to thank you for your attention and participation. Now, CBN Smith and 360 Suite, I think it's up to you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Gregory. So we're going to come back and hit these questions in just a few moments. Feel free to fill those in if you haven't already. I see that we've got quite a few that are coming in. But first, wanted to share, especially with such a nice, diverse audience in attendance here, some best practices to take advantage of moving to SP7 or really any type of upgrade that you might be approaching to get in and leverage some of these new capabilities. And so we've got a 10-step best practice guide around leveraging the 360 suite, which of course is a modular set of solutions that plugs into business objects to extend and deliver enhanced capabilities that might bring value, better visibility, reduced risk, as well as greater efficiency around managing your projects. So Yasmina and I are going to walk through these. Please, if you have questions, like I said, continue to ask here, and we will definitely get those too. So first step, of course, is we're approaching any sort of upgrade or migration. What do we need to do? We need to prepare.
Thank you, Nathan. So in terms of the preparation, it's best done with 360 Eyes, our BI on BI solution, and that also helps you to perform an assessment on your current BobJ landscape, and you can ascertain certain things such as usage, non-usage of documents, so whether it actually warrants keeping everything and moving everything across to 4.2. You can also find out when the users last logged on, so you can clean up your user accounts, and you can also get an overview of how many documents and how many instances you have in your file store. So this is another type of report that we can also pull using 360 Eyes, where you can see the list of actions from your users, so you know exactly how the platform is utilized.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
Just the next step, of course, now that we've got a good plan together, is we want to make sure that any kind of changes, any sort of bumps in the road that we might experience over time are mitigated. So having a solid backup strategy.
So this is where 360 Plus, our backup, restore, as well as disaster recovery solution comes in. And it allows you to, in a way, have an insurance policy that if something happens with your current BobJ environment that you're going to be upgrading or migrating, you're able to actually roll back and restore content that would have been lost or corrupted. So our backups are incremental. They're dynamic, and you can restore any kind of object selectively. You can also do comparisons of those objects that have been backed up. And as mentioned, you can do a full system restore or rollback should you need to.
Really cool piece to that backup is 2 points. One is I've often heard that, you know, it's kind of a nice to have because we already back up our database. I see customers coming to us saying, well, when was the last time you actually operationalized your backup or disaster recovery in the case of something going on? And generally it's a one at a time thing and not everything. And then the second piece that I found really interesting, especially around this type of effort for migrations or upgrades, is that when you get into larger organizations and you're doing parallel type of upgrades, so that you've got your old system and your new system, as you're doing cutover by business unit or however you organize that, we've got jobs that will automate the process of keeping those two systems in sync so that development and anything going on in your prior system is still keeping pace with the new system, so that ultimately when you get over, they're still the same and you can clearly and cleanly step into the brand new system. So the next step is pinpointing.
So that allows you, again, using 360 eyes, to identify those reports that are duplicated or unused, and any universe objects that might not be used as well. So again, it allows you to pare down what you need to keep as part of your upgrade or migration, and what can actually be archived or deleted.
Right, now we're going to clean things up.
So this is using 360 view. And here you can perform a lot of bulk actions and you can clean up your environment as you see fit. So this is a great solution because you can do things such as emptying or cleaning up user inboxes, and that can be based on number of days of the age of the documents. It can be on the document name. It can be based on the last modification date, creation date. You can also do things such as cleaning up folders and documents, cleaning up instances. So anything that you need to get rid of to essentially make your current BobJ environment cleaner, tighter, leaner before you migrate or you promote the content across. And here, those are a few more options of deleting unused documents and archiving instances. So this is a great feature where you can actually detach those PDF, Excel, CSV, text, as well as .wid instances, and move them to a specific physical location. And that way, that completely declutters your output file store.
Right. So part of this process might be trying to take advantage of some of the hybrid opportunities that SAP has available now to right-size maintenance and user adoption of your BI platform, and combining that with SAC or other solutions. And so this allows you to gather and leverage the information to have an educated and fact-based decision with SAP.
So with 360 eyes, again, you can pull reports that allow you to analyze your session peaks. So you gain a better visibility of how many sessions there are per hours, per month, and essentially gauge what is the utilization over a period of time. So you can see the trend from your users.
And then how do we find what is going to impact and how those are being used, so we can plan an attack to mitigate any sort of reports that aren't going to be working or giving correct data?
So a key piece of 360i's BI on BI solution is impact analysis, and we provide those Webby reports that allow you to find, based on a universe object, on a SQL expression, so select a where clause, or on a variable syntax or name, what is going to be the impact on any changes made to those on the current content that lives within business objects. So this is fantastic if you need to track those pesky calculation engine changes, or those objects that have been modified or are going to be modified.
Right. So comparing source and target, always a very big piece of making sure that everything's moved and that we're ready to go from a turning the switch on in prod. So comparing source and target.
So 360 Eyes again comes to save the day, and it helps highlight source and target differences and to follow the evolution. So you can compare the security, for example, across folders between the two environments that you're upgrading or migrating. Same with comparison in universes. You can also do comparisons of universe contents, how they're built, as well as documents, and you can see if there are any changes that have been made between those documents before and after the migration or the upgrade.
And part of that comparing and contrasting, okay, everything came over and all the objects are there, but have we made any sort of impact to the reports? Well, automated regression testing allows you to reduce the amount of resources and time it takes to test and be 100% sure that there's no difference between the data, the style, the structure, the images, or even the runtime on these reports.
So exactly, Nathan. So 360 Bind is the key solution here, makes regression testing, report comparison faster, easier, and less prone to human error.
And finally, promote. This was one of the areas I was talking about earlier in syncing environments, etc.
So this is 360 Plus. So not only 360 Plus provides a backup, restore, disaster recovery capabilities, but also allows you to do promotions. They're done on individual BR files that are created when you back up the content, and that means that promotions are done in a much more performant, efficient manner. You're not generating a massive LCMBR file, and you're also able to manage the dependencies much more easily for the content that you're going to be promoting to the 4.2 environment.
And then the 10th step, of course, is ensuring security.
So this is done with 360 View, and this showcases our patented security matrix, which allows you to see and to define access rights between users, groups and users, as well as folders, applications, universe folders, etc. The full resources available in BobJ, but this is done within a matrix where you can click at the intersection of that matrix, see what the rights are, if there are any issues with the inheritance, if there's double inheritance, broken inheritance, and you can easily select the custom access level that you want to apply, and those changes will be made live to the security.
Perfect. All right. So we've got another poll asking if you would like to speak with anyone as a follow-up to this. I'm going to launch that here, but also keep the presentation going as well. So Gregory, if you'll come back in, we've got questions that are coming in. And then additionally, we've got some upcoming events and things we'll get to here in just a moment. But Yasmina, why don't we give a start onto the questions, if you please?
Sure. Right. So let me just maximize this. So I've got some people who have actually provided a bit more information for the first poll that we ran in regards to the type of BI analytics that they are using. And we have one participant here who mentioned that they're using Looker. And we have another participant who specified indeed Tableau and Power BI. So we've got a question here. What quality improvements can we expect in SP7? Because in SP6, we are at patch 500, so patch 5. So there's already a lot of bug fixing.
That fix in the patches Service Pack 6, but you are planned to be delivered in Service Pack 7. That's the first thing. So, the second thing. Thing number 3, because we have added less innovation in this release. It means that we did not change that much the code, which means that it remains more stable, and it gives us more time to test and to have several, I would say, test campaign on the Service Pack 7 in order to identify additional bugs prior to the release that if they are identified as risky, we fix them for the release, etc., etc. So that's what it means by quality release.
Thank you, Gregory. Next question for Webby in the new interactive viewer. Fold, unfold functionality works fine for break footer. Does the fold, unfold functionality for break header is fixed in this version?
I don't know. We'll have to check afterwards. No, I don't know.
Okay. Next question. Are there plans to support modern data sources like Google BigQuery, Amazon Athena, or Snowflake?
Yes, we have some plan to support this database, but you will have to wait. This is planned for the next BI for the tree. For example, that's the case for Snowflake. For some other cloud data sources, generally speaking, we have in our plan to propose you to access SSE model. Why? Because SSE model today can access this kind of data sources. And so if SSE can already, and if you can consume an SSE model, we will be able to consume these cloud data sources.
Thank you. Next question. Is there any plan to remove the need to refresh core when working with linked universes?
I will have to check for this one. I don't know.
Okay. Next question. Are there any differences between Webby Rich Client, Webby Java mode, and also HTML mode?
Yes, we still have some differences, but they are really minor. Generally speaking, today, all the capabilities you need to create a report or a web document are available into the DHTML web client. So it contains all the capability, which means that since for the 2 Service Pack 6, and of course with this Service Pack 7, you can go with the HTML for viewing and designing your web document because it contains everything but the following capabilities. In the DHTML, the Data Manager tab is missing. In DHTML, the Document as a Web Service functionality is missing, so you're going to get it in BI for the tree. Same thing for the Data Manager. In the DHTML for the 2 Service Pack 7, the Web Service as a source is missing. This is a specific type of data provider, and this is going to be added in the next BI for the tree. So despite these 3 to 4 capabilities, all the capabilities are available into the DHTML designer. So if you want today, you can stop to use a Java applet and use the DHTML.
Thank you for that. We've got more questions coming in, which is great. So a few more. Does the UI for BI Launchpad change?
Yes, since the 4.2 Service Pack 4, we propose as an option the new BI Fiori Launchpad. The BI platform team has continued to enhance it in Service Pack 7, so I really encourage you to have a look at my Schwarzing recording. The session has been done with 360 Suite last week. I'm pretty sure he has mentioned this.
And one last question, and then we can answer the rest offline and get back to the participants who asked them. Are there any geo mapping enhancements being considered?
Yes, for the next BI 4.3. First of all, we did some cumulative enhancements in the Service Pack 6 on the way the geo maps are being rendered today in Webby. So we didn't change the technology, it's just that we have made the geomap nice to look at. For the next BI 4.3, if we can, because we have a lot of priorities for the next 4.3, we would like to propose you a new online geomap that will let you use, for example, Google Map or MapStreetMap as a map provider. If you can, we will deliver this capability, but not before 4.3. This is planned for 4.3. I would like to clarify, maybe there is a question regarding in SP7 ready to provide live data connectivity from SAP Analytics Cloud to SAP BU universes. That's already the case. From SSC today, you can leverage the live universe connector to consume your existing universes, UNX and UNV universes. This is already possible, and in the coming weeks, we're going to propose to deliver the live universe connector 2.0, and these versions will propose you greater performance.
That's great. Thank you very much,
awesome.
Gregory.
Yes, we certainly appreciate the time, Gregory. And thank you all for hanging in there. I know we've gone over the 12 o'clock hour, but we really wanted, there's just tons of information here, value, knowledge bombs from Gregory. It's all good stuff, and we want to make sure that you get it. Like was mentioned, we'll follow up with emails to those who asked questions that we weren't able to get to, and we will also be at upcoming BI events. So if you're going to be at BIA, or if you're going to be at BI and HANA, either of those, the 360 Suite team will be there and would love to catch up, would love to meet you. We've got discount packages available, so make sure that you follow up via email or be able to reply over the phone, etc., and let us know if we can help. Yasmina, Gregory, thank you so much for your time, and from all of us here, we really appreciate yours. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.